Well, Daniel Snyder and Tanya Snyder have left the building. It seems like a sale is now imminent, according to sources, and it looks like that the Daniel Snyder regime in Washington is finally coming to a close. Folks, welcome to another edition here of the Washington Football Maniacs. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. Please consider subscribing. I try to put out videos on a regular basis. And with that said, let's get into today's video. So Dan Snyder has left the building. Commanders sell Imminent. Not intimate, but intimate. Per multiple sources, Dan and Tanya Snyder have cleared out all of the team's facilities in advance of the sale of the team. What does this mean about the sale of the Commanders? Well, the Washington Commanders under siege in so many ways during the 24-year ownership reign of Dan Snyder may be on the verge of being sold to the new bosses. What is the sign of that? According to one report, the Snyders have left the building. They cleared out their offices. There's no sign of the Snyders in sight. As a matter of technical fact, Pro Football Talk writes on Thursday night that multiple sources, Dan and Tanya Snyder have cleared out of the team's facilities in advance of the sale of the team. As headline grabbing as that seemingly is PFT follows up with a bit of a tamp down, adding, as one source explains, they left in late December. So this wasn't anything where they came back this week and packed up a bunch of boxes and moved out the door. In fact, they were out of town pretty much last year in December. The Snyders sort of skulking off into the night without making an announcement. Frankly, it fits snugly into everything we know about the way this franchise has been overseen. And so there you go. So honestly, they left the building months ago. Now, it wasn't just, suddenly they have left the building, so now the sale's imminent. So actually, they had left the building a long, long time ago, which means that I think we can finally put to end the idea that Dan and Tanya Snyder would try to hang on to some sort of ownership of the team and just sell a minority bit of it. No, they're getting out of town completely. As a matter of fact, even their not their Potomac mansion, which was put on sale, but their other home in Northern Virginia has been pretty much vacant for a couple of months from what reports have said. So they have listed their home in England as their primary home, so primary residence. So there you go. Not only have they left town, they've left the country, literally. So now the question is, it really comes back to the point of who is the next owner going to be? Is it going to be Jeff Bezos, or is it going to be Josh Harris and company? Of course, Josh Harris, as we reported earlier, had teamed up with local billionaire Mr. Ailes, and so now they have a combination of a net worth of about $11 billion, enough to purchase the team, and hopefully also enough to invest in building a new stadium. And I would say that either ownership group is probably going to be likely granted the go-ahead to be able to build a stadium at the RFK site. I'm going to go ahead and say that now. Do I have any sources? Do I have any proof to back that up? Absolutely not. But I would venture to say that the reason why that Snyder had not been able to get the team to move back to DC. Number one, there was always this thing about the team name, but I think they used that as a crutch. I think when it really came down to it, it was because that nobody liked Dan Snyder. Nobody wanted to do business with Dan Snyder. And in fact, we saw this in the last little bit. And I think honestly, what really did Dan Snyder in, it wasn't necessarily all of these allegations and lawsuits and all this stuff going against him. I really don't think any of that had anything to do with it. I think it came down to the fact that Dan Snyder realized he was never going to be successful in building a stadium for the Washington Commanders because Maryland doesn't want him, Virginia doesn't want him, DC doesn't want him, so where is he going to build a stadium at? And I think that ultimately is what is really getting him out of town, literally. So I think Harris or Bezos probably has a stronger political pull, but I think that either one will be successful in being able to build a stadium at the RFK site. But all of this talk about the Snyders have cleared out their space at the facilities, this has been done. This was done back in December. So does that make us any, one step closer to the sale? I don't think so. I think we're still on to hear about a new sale or hear about the final versions of the sale probably in another week. I feel like in another week we're going to hear something. So just hold on. Just hold on one more week, and I feel like we're definitely going to hear if it's going to be Bezos or Harris. It's going to be one of those two. I don't think it's going to be anybody else. Folks, let me know in the comments section what you think. Yeah, we're getting happy. We're hearing about the Snyders have finally left town. We have concluded with that. So there you go. Hey, if you enjoy this video, please give it a like, share it. Helps the algorithm, helps me out a lot to get this video out to others. So subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And with that said, I will see you in the next one. Hey, you stayed until the very end. Thank you so much. Watch another one right now.